You don't need anyone to tell you what's holding you back. You know it. You feel it every time you postpone what truly matters. Every time you do the exact opposite of what you promised. Every time you choose what's easy, even when you know it's slowly destroying you. You feel it when you look in the mirror and see someone silently betraying themselves. Someone who wants to move forward but can't hold the line. And no, it's not a lack of motivation, it's a lack of discipline. It's that cruel gap between what you dream and what you actually do with your day. That feeling of knowing exactly what needs to be done, and watching yourself give in, once again, to impulse, laziness, or the perfect excuse. And that hurts more than failure, because it's not the world that's defeating you, it's you. Sound familiar? It doesn't matter how many times you try. If you don't master your mind, if you don't forge self-control, you'll remain a slave to your emotions, your impulses. That internal enemy that always finds a reason to give up before you've even begun. Stoicism didn't come to offer cheap motivation. It came to give you weapons, firm principles, an inner shield against your own weakness, and self-control is at the center of it all. Without it, there is no consistency, no results, no self-respect. But if you manage to build it quickly, deeply, and with purpose, you can rebuild yourself from the ground up. You can reclaim the word firmness. You can start trusting yourself again, and most importantly, you can stop living like a victim of your feelings and start living like someone who chooses. You're not here out of curiosity. You're here because something inside you is done with this, because deep down you sense that your greatest battle isn't with the world, it's with yourself. That's why this session exists, not to inspire you, but to teach you how to govern yourself. Here you'll learn 10 Stoic principles that function like swords. Each has a specific role. Each forces you to face what challenges you the most, your scattered mind, your weak habits, your low tolerance for discomfort, your addiction to the immediate. And if you apply each lesson one by one, you won't just gain control, you'll gain direction, peace, and power, not over the world, but over yourself. And that's the one thing no one can ever take from you. Before we begin, I want you to declare your commitment by writing in the comments, "My will is my new habit." That phrase will be your reminder that you're here to take command, not to let your impulses run the show. This is your moment to prove that you deserve a life led by will, not by excuses. Without further delay, let's begin. Lesson 1. Master your mind, or it will master you. Discipline begins in the mind. The Stoics knew that controlling your thoughts means controlling your actions. There's something you can't see, yet it rules you. It has no shape, yet it decides for you. It has no body, yet it drags yours around with its whims. It's your mind, and if you don't govern it, it will govern your entire life. Every time you break a promise to yourself, every time you put off what matters, every time you say tomorrow, it's not the world that wins, it's your poorly trained mind. That internal corner that rebels against what you say you want, that acts like a spoiled child, wants everything now, without effort, without consequence. And if you don't discipline it, you'll become its servant. Seneca said it clearly, "No one is free who is not master of himself." And mastery over yourself doesn't begin with your actions, it begins with your thoughts. The Stoics understood that before any act of indiscipline, there is always a mismanaged idea, a voice whispering exactly what you want to hear so you don't do what you know you must. Just for today, it doesn't matter. I'm tired, I'll do it later. This won't change anything. No one will notice. It's okay if I slip up once. I had a good day, I deserve to relax. Sound familiar? They're not harmless thoughts. They're traps, subtle, convenient, seductive, and if you don't face them the moment they show up, they've already won. Because every time you don't lead your thinking leads you, and it doesn't lead from reason. It leads from emotion, from fear, from laziness, from the urge to avoid discomfort. Here's the truth. painful but freeing. Your mind isn't designed for greatness. It's designed for survival. It cares about avoiding pain, not realizing potential. And that's why, if you don't reprogram it, train it, step up and take command daily, it will keep you small, safe, but shut down. Mastering your mind isn't fighting it. It's directing it, watching it, knowing that not every thought deserves to be heard, much less obeyed. So how do you do it? First, detect a weak thought. Don't deny it. Observe it. Name it. Catch it the moment it shows up. Second, question it. Ask yourself, does this move me closer to the person I want to be? Does this thought strengthen or weaken me? Am I choosing this or just being carried along? Third, replace it. Swap it out for a clear command, not a pretty phrase, a directive, like a general speaking to his inner army. Get up. Do what you said you would. Don't give in now. Finish what you started. Return to yourself. That firm voice must be cultivated, and every time you use it, even once, your mind records it. It begins to realize someone's in charge. It begins to respect you. But if you don't use it, if you keep giving in, negotiating, deceiving yourself, your mind learns something else, that it can manipulate you whenever it wants. And it will, again and again. Marcus Aurelius trained this daily. He wrote down his thoughts to observe them from the outside, to see whether they were guiding him or dragging him, to separate what came from reason, from what was born of fear or ego, because if you don't question your thoughts, you end up obeying every impulse. And that is the root of indiscipline. It's not a lack of motivation. It's a lack of inner command. Make this commitment to yourself. Every time your mind says, do it tomorrow, act today. Every time it says, this doesn't matter, do it with more intensity. Every time it says, you can't, prove it doesn't need to be right to be ignored, because true self-control, the kind that transforms lives, doesn't begin in your body, your schedule, or your habits. It begins in the thought you choose to believe, and in the one you choose to discard. Master that, and everything else becomes a natural extension of your strength. Now that you know, no more excuses. Don't say it's hard. What's hard is being ruled by your thoughts when you're not thinking clearly. And if you're ready to move forward, then prepare for what's next. The real test of self-control isn't knowing what's right. It's choosing it when comfort tempts you away. That's your next step. Lesson 2. Choose what's right over what's comfortable. Self-control is choosing virtue over immediate pleasure. Real rewards always come long-term. You already know what you need to do. It's not a lack of knowledge. It's not ignorance. You know. You've known for years. You know what builds you and what breaks you, what lifts you and what drags you back. But despite all that knowing, you keep falling. Why? Because between what's right and what's easy, you keep choosing easy. And every time you do, you know you're betraying yourself. Comfort isn't always bad, but when you choose it as a hiding place, as an escape and as a way to avoid effort, it weakens you. And the worst part is, it does it slowly, with a gentle voice, with a sweet promise. Relax, just today, you've earned it. But what feels like rest today becomes habit tomorrow, and what seems harmless today becomes the wall that keeps you from your strongest self. The Stoics knew this. Virtue is choosing the path that strengthens your soul, not the one that pleases your body, because the body seeks comfort, but the soul seeks purpose. And purpose is not reached without resistance, tension, discomfort. Ask yourself this every time you have to choose between easy and necessary. Does this strengthen me or just relieve me? Because often they're not the same. Eating what you know you shouldn't, breaking a promise, avoiding a hard conversation, putting off your work, looking at a screen instead of your life. All of that is relief, but it's not strength. It's escape. It's postponing what truly matters, and comfort, when it becomes habit, is a prison disguised as a reward. A trap that feels like rest, but comes with a price. It takes your discipline, your self-respect, your clarity of purpose. Marcus Aurelius didn't live an easy life. He was emperor during plague, war, and betrayal. And yet he wrote to himself, "Ask yourself in every action, is this in line with the nature of a rational and virtuous being, or is it a momentary whim?" That's your compass. That's your filter, because comfort requires no effort, but also gives no honor. What's right is hard, but it builds you. And that's what you're here to do. Build yourself, earn yourself, shape a character that can look in the mirror without lowering its gaze. And to do that, you have to act when you least feel like it. That's the key. That's where real self-control is born. When you do what must be done, not because you want to, but because you decided to. So how do you train this? Start by not asking what you feel like doing. Ask instead, what would someone with self-control do? What would the version of me who already has the life I want do? Then do that, even if it's hard, even if you don't want to. Because if you only do what you feel like, you'll never be more than your impulses. Choose what's right when comfort tempts you. Choose to rise when everything in you wants to stay down. Choose to follow through when everything in you wants to run. And when you finish, you won't just win a task, you'll win respect. And self-respect is the foundation of all inner power. You're not here to be perfect. You're here to stop running from what you know you must face, to break the cycle of choosing what destroys you just because it's easy, to train the muscle no one sees. But that changes everything, your will. And every time you use it, even in something small, even just today, even once, you move closer to your real strength. Now that you know comfort is the silent enemy of self-control, you're ready for what's next. A truth most people avoid. Discipline is not built by avoiding temptation, but by facing it head-on. That's your next lesson. Your strength is not born from impulse, but from will. If today you choose to stop being a slave to your excuses and start leading yourself with firmness, subscribe. This space is a refuge for those who want to build real discipline, strong character, and deep respect for themselves. Don't let momentary desires steer your life. Here, we train the soul. Let's keep going. Lesson 3. Strength is built by facing temptation, not avoiding it. Every temptation you resist strengthens your discipline. Every concession weakens your will. Most people think self-control means staying away from everything that tempts them, shutting down the world, eliminating distractions, closing doors, but that's not how real strength is built. That's just a comfortable cage for someone afraid of failing. The Stoics knew this. Strength isn't formed in the absence of difficulty. It's forged in the presence of temptation. It's not about creating a perfect environment. It's about building a character that stays firm in an imperfect one. It's not about hiding from what you want. It's about learning to say, "I could have it, but I choose not to." And that phrase, simple as it sounds, is one of the purest expressions of personal power. Because if you're only strong when everything is under control, you're not strong. You're fragile. You rely on your environment to hold you up. And the day that environment changes, and it will, you collapse. Think about this. Temptation is not the enemy. It's training, an invitation to grow, an opportunity in disguise. Every time something tempts you, food, pleasure, distraction, comfort, escape, life is asking, have you mastered your will? Or are you still a slave to what you feel in the moment? And you know the answer. Every time you give in, you lose, not just the moment, but a part of yourself, your word, your direction, your self-respect. But every time you resist, you don't just hold your ground. You gain more, you grow stronger, more solid, more free, because self-control isn't inherited, it isn't bought, it isn't improvised, it's trained. And the training ground is not a comfortable room, it's temptation itself. Epictetus said, "Do you want to be invincible? Then don't fight what you can't control. Control your desires instead." And that kind of mastery doesn't come from hiding from the world. It comes from being the force that doesn't break, even when everything around you invites you to do so. But yes, it hurts. That's why so few reach it. Because when temptation strikes, the brain fires off primitive impulses. Take it. You need this. Just once won't hurt. You've earned it. And that's when the real training begins. That's where your mind must become your shield. Not to suppress desire, but to redirect it. Look at it directly, observe it without giving in, and remember what's at stake. 5 minutes of comfort, or a lifetime of personal power. Choose. But choose consciously, because self-control doesn't mean not wanting. It means knowing which wants deserve to be obeyed, and which must be ignored with strength. Every time you give in to temptation, you teach your mind that it can control you. But every time you hold the line, you teach it that you're in charge. And if you do it once, just once, you've already gained ground. Because it's not about never falling. It's about falling less, surrendering less, reacting faster, holding on longer. And if you stay consistent, there comes a moment when temptation loses its grip. It's still there. But you're no longer the same, because you no longer act from a place of seeking pleasure. You act from a place of seeking respect, of coherence, of true strength. That is real power, the kind that doesn't hide, the kind that looks temptation in the eye and says, I could, but I won't, because I don't need to be a slave to what I want. I want to be the master of what I choose. Now that you understand that discipline is trained by confronting what you used to avoid, you're ready for an even harder truth. Every day you fail to train that discipline. You don't just stall, you fall back, you lose strength, you lose structure, you move further away from the ideal you say you want, and we'll face that truth in the next lesson. Lesson 4. 1 day without discipline sets you back a week. Consistency in small actions shapes your character. Never underestimate the power of daily routine. Most people believe that skipping just 1 day doesn't change anything. It's fine if I rest today. One exception won't hurt. I can pick it back up tomorrow. But they don't realize how dangerous that mindset is, because when it comes to discipline, 1 day is never just 1 day. A day without discipline is more than a pause. It's a crack in your foundation. It's a silent message you send to yourself. My word is not unbreakable. I can betray myself and nothing happens. And what you don't do today builds up tomorrow. Because what you skip out of laziness, distraction, or self-deception doesn't vanish. It stays. It becomes part of who you are. And 1 day becomes 2. 2 become 5. And when you wake up, you're no longer someone with discipline. You're someone who used to have it. The Stoics didn't believe in impulsive transformations. They believed in the power of doing the minimum, consistently. Because they knew character isn't forged in big decisions, but in small, repeated acts of will. Marcus Aurelius understood this. In the middle of wars, plagues, betrayal, and political chaos, he still wrote each morning, reflected, trained his inner world. And if he could do that while ruling an empire, how could you not do the same in your own life? Discipline doesn't break in obvious moments. It breaks when you convince yourself that skipping just once is harmless, that you can fail yourself this time and everything will stay intact. But it doesn't. 1 day without discipline sets you back, and not just in your external goals. It weakens your relationship with yourself. You lose strength, you lose structure, you lose trust. And when you lose self-trust, the silent decline begins. You stop taking yourself seriously. You stop believing your own promises. You stop honoring your commitments. And what was once a strong routine becomes a chain of excuses dressed up in soft words. I'm tired. I deserve a break. I'm not in the mood today. I'll go harder tomorrow. Your mind begins justifying laziness, normalizing weakness, convincing you it's not a big deal, but you feel it. Deep down you know it is a big deal. You are failing. You are losing something that once belonged to you, and that hurts, not because of the results, but because of the silent betrayal, the quiet disappointment no one else sees. That moment where you knew you could have done the right thing and chose not to, that's what really stings. But here's the powerful part. Just as one undisciplined day weakens you, one disciplined day rebuilds you. A well-lived day, a decision honored, an effort made even when you didn't feel like it, an action done simply because it's right. That changes everything, because when you choose yourself again, even in something small, you begin to rebuild respect for yourself. And that's something you can't negotiate if you want to move forward. So do this. Never underestimate a day. Never believe you can fail yourself just for today. Because the path of discipline is built one step at a time. And every misstep breaks your rhythm. It's not about being perfect. It's about being firm, about having bad days, yes, but never surrendered ones, about accepting tiredness, but never abandonment. You can reclaim what you've lost today, but you won't do it by thinking. You'll do it by acting, by returning to yourself, to your routine, to the small actions that uphold your greatness. And if you stay there day after day, you'll start to notice something remarkable. Life begins to respect you, because you began to respect yourself again. Now that you understand the real weight of each day, you're ready to face one of the toughest battles of self-control, the internal negotiation. That voice that always appears when you're most uncertain, and takes everything from you if you give it space. That's your next lesson. Lesson 5. Don't negotiate with your mind when in doubt. If you start negotiating with yourself, you've already lost. Act on clear principles, not on fleeting emotions. We've all been there, standing before a decision, with clear intent one moment and doubt creeping in the next. Maybe I'll skip it just for today. What if I change the plan just this once? What if I take a break and get back to it tomorrow? It's the voice that shows up right when you most need to act. When discomfort hits, when mental resistance grows, when you know exactly what you should do, but feel like you don't have the strength to do it. And that's when you make the mistake. You start to negotiate. You give power to a part of you that has no principles, only excuses, a part that doesn't care about your long-term growth, only about your immediate comfort. And every time you talk with it, you lose time, clarity, and strength. Self-control doesn't come from inner debates. It comes from firm decisions made before temptation shows up. The Stoics understood this perfectly. They knew that when the time to act arrives, your mind shouldn't be thinking. It should be following orders. Epictetus put it bluntly. When you make a firm decision, do not allow your mind to question it. Your will must be stronger than your desire. Because if, in the moment of doubt, you open the door to internal dialogue, you're not preparing to move forward. You're preparing to fail. An untrained mind looks for shortcuts, and you know it. You know how the negotiation begins. First, you justify. Then, you minimize. Then you delay. And in the end, you give up. All without anyone noticing. All inside your head. All while pretending you're just thinking, when you're really just surrendering. And the danger is, your mind is persuasive. It knows you. It knows what to say to lower your guard. It knows how to disguise weakness as logic, how to use your fatigue, your fear, your craving for a reward, to stop you just when you were about to act. So what can you do? Create a code, a clear, immovable principle, a rule that isn't up for discussion, like a contract with yourself that allows no exceptions. I train at this time, no matter how I feel. I don't eat this, no matter if I crave it. I don't break my routine, no matter what happens. Because if you leave any room for doubt, your mind will take all of it. It will slip in through the cracks. It will turn every discomfort into a valid excuse. And in the end, you'll be left with the emptiness of having given in. But But when you eliminate negotiation, when you decide ahead of time and act without giving your mind the chance to sabotage you, something powerful happens. Your mind learns to obey, and you learn to trust yourself. This won't happen overnight, but it can be trained. Every time you act without asking yourself if you feel like it, every time you follow through without debating, every time you do what's right, even when there's a voice inside saying, "Let's do it later," that voice weakens, and you grow stronger. Marcus Aurelius practiced this in the silence of his soul. He reminded himself that he was a rational being, and that rationality should not bow to emotion, that if he knew his duty, he didn't need motivation to fulfill it. He needed clarity and firmness. Do the same. Each morning, define what you will do, and when the moment comes, don't think. Don't negotiate. Don't hesitate. Act like a warrior who knows the battlefield allows no room for doubt, because in the territory of the mind, he who hesitates falls, and he who decides with firmness advances. Now that you've understood the importance of shutting down internal negotiation, you're ready for one of the most powerful Stoic tools, visualizing your highest self before you act, that image of who you want to become, which can save you at the very edge of giving in. Lesson 6. Visualize who you want to be before you act. Before giving in to temptation or procrastination, recall the image of who you aspire to be, the strong, disciplined, and wise version of yourself. We all carry a quiet image of the person we want to become. We don't always say it out loud. We don't always write it down, but it's there, waiting, watching from some corner of our consciousness. That stronger version, more focused, more disciplined, more respected, more free. And yet, most of the time, we act as if that version didn't exist. When we face temptation, we don't think of that image. We think of immediate pleasure, of fatigue, of the excuse, of what's easy. And so with every small decision, we drift away from who we want to become, without even noticing. The Stoics had a powerful practice to prevent this. Prosoche, a constant self-awareness, an inner vigilance to act not from impulse, but from intention. And one of the most effective ways to apply this was simple: visualize your ideal self before you act. Ask yourself, does this action bring me closer to who I want to be? Am I honoring the image I hold of myself, or betraying it? Is this gesture, this word, this choice worthy of the person I aim to become? Do this for a moment. Close your eyes. Think of yourself, not who you are now, but who you could be if you stopped breaking your own promises. See it clearly. You wake up when you said you would. You complete your routine without negotiation. You say no to things that weaken you. You don't wait for motivation. You act with strength. Not out of obligation, but out of respect. You don't need others' approval because you admire yourself. You don't run from difficulty. You face it with calm. That image isn't a fantasy. It's a possibility, but it won't come on its own. It's not built through thoughts. It's built through choices. And the most powerful way to start acting like that version is to remember it right before your weaker self takes over. About to eat what you shouldn't. Ask yourself, what would the stronger version of me do? Ready to quit in the middle of training. Ask, what would the version who never gives up do? About to say, I'll start tomorrow. Ask, would that version postpone what matters? Visualizing your best self isn't cheesy self-help. It's a focus tool. It brings direction to the present. A direction we usually forget. It gives you the chance to act like you already are the person you're becoming, until one day, without realizing it, you are. Marcus Aurelius used to write himself orders. He spoke to himself from that elevated version, not waiting to be wise to act wisely, but acting wisely to become so. And you can do the same. Define your ideal image. Make it clear. Make it solid. Don't build it with vague hopes. Build it with real actions. How does that person dress? What habits does that person repeat daily? what boundaries are non-negotiable, what is never tolerated, what decisions are never delayed, and then act as if you already were that person. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait for fear to vanish. Don't wait for others to validate you. You go first, because each time you do, even once, even with something small, something shifts. Your mind begins to see you differently, and if you see yourself differently, you start choosing differently. Your question is no longer, do I feel like doing this? It becomes, is this worthy of the person I'm becoming? And if the answer is no, don't do it. Not out of guilt, but out of identity. That's the key, making discipline a reflection of who you are, not a fight against how you feel. Because when identity is solid, action becomes natural, and every time you choose based on your higher self, you move closer to it. You make it real, you bring it into the present. And one day, you'll look in the mirror and know you've made it, not because the world changed, but because you did. Because before acting, you remembered who you wanted to be, and chose like that person would. Now that you've learned to use visualization as your anchor before acting, you're ready for the most demanding role in your transformation, being your own leader, not to motivate yourself, but to give yourself clear orders and follow them without excuses. If you've made it this far, it's because you're ready to let your character speak louder than your craving. Follow us and comment, "From now on, I'm in charge," if you're ready to lead yourself with clarity, firmness, and self-respect. This is just the first step toward a life free from self-deception. Lesson 9 will show you why you don't need more motivation. You only need decision. Stay with us. This might be the shift you've been waiting for. Let's keep going. Lesson 7. Give yourself clear orders and follow them without excuses. Be your own leader with precise commands. Leave no room for excuses or self-deception. Most people don't fail because they don't know what to do. They fail because they don't take themselves seriously. They talk to themselves like confused children. They give themselves suggestions, not instructions, options, not commitments. And when it's time to act, they negotiate. It's not necessary today. Tomorrow will be better. Maybe later. It's not that important. I should listen to myself and rest. And so they sabotage themselves with soft words, not through major failures, but through daily micro-abandonments, with small justifications that seem harmless, but are poison to self-discipline. The Stoic solution? Clear, radical, powerful. Treat yourself the way a leader treats their army. Give orders and make them happen. The Stoics understood there's no inner strength without firm direction. If your will is weak, you need structure, command, a way of thinking that leaves no space for the mental shortcuts that show up when your body is tired and your mind wants to quit. Think about this. If you hired someone to train your body, to bring order to your life, to push your habits to the next level, would you let them change plans every day based on how they feel? Would you accept them breaking promises, not following through? Of course not. So why do you allow it from yourself? Marcus Aurelius wrote to himself each morning with a firm tone, like a soldier being told to get up and do what must be done, even if he didn't feel like it. He reminded himself that he was his own commander, that if he waited for the world to give him structure, he was already lost. Discipline is born when you give yourself orders, not suggestions. And those orders don't need to be harsh. They need to be clear. They must be decisions made before doubt appears. Internal rules that eliminate the mental fatigue of deciding every time. Because when you constantly have to decide what to do, you'll end up choosing what's most comfortable. But if the decision is already made, if you've already issued the order, your body only has to obey. Examples: I wake up at 6 a.m. Not negotiable, not let's see how I feel. It's an order. I train today, no matter what. Fatigue doesn't matter. Bad weather doesn't matter. It's an order. I don't eat this. I don't skip this. I don't procrastinate this. These are orders, the voice of your strong self guiding your weak self. And you don't need to shout them, you just need to follow through, because every time you follow your own command, you reinforce something vital, trust in yourself. And every time you break it, you weaken that trust. And then you wonder why you can't stick to anything. The answer is simple, you haven't trained yourself to obey yourself. This isn't about being rigid. It's about being clear, leaving no space for your mind to sneak in excuses when things get uncomfortable. Do this. Every night before bed, write down 3 orders for the next day. Not a wish list, not vague goals, clear orders. And the next day, follow them. No matter how you feel, no matter if you're not in the mood, follow them, as if your life depended on it. Because in a way it does. Your life depends on your habits. Your habits depend on your decisions. And your decisions depend on your ability to give yourself orders and follow through. Being your own leader doesn't mean you won't get tired. It means you don't let that tiredness make decisions for you. It means you respect your vision so much that you won't let a fleeting emotion steal the future you're building. And when you reach that point, when you act without needing to convince yourself, when you obey with honor, self-control stops being effort and becomes identity. Now that you've taken on the role of your own internal leader, you're ready to face one of the most uncomfortable and necessary truths. Real self-control isn't born in comfort. It's born in discomfort held with purpose. Lesson 8. Discomfort is the price of excellence. The Stoics understood that discipline isn't comfortable, but comfort doesn't build greatness either. Most people want extraordinary results, but they're not willing to pay the real price. They talk about goals, about change, about dreams, but run from discomfort. They want strength without effort, clarity without conflict, self-mastery without sacrifice, and that's why they never arrive. Because there's an unshakable truth the Stoics embraced without fear. Everything truly worthwhile is uncomfortable, not because pain is desirable, but because growth is naturally uncomfortable. Everything that breaks limits, questions habits, overcomes impulses, hurts, and that pain isn't a mistake. It's how your character expands, how your soul strengthens, how your mind is cleansed from the addiction to instant pleasure. Marcus Aurelius lived this firsthand. He didn't seek a comfortable life. He had the power to give himself every luxury, but he chose to write, reflect, resist, not because he despised pleasure, but because he knew the soul rusts if it isn't trained in discomfort. And you, what do you do when discomfort shows up? Do you take it as a sign to stop, or as a sign that you've entered the space where others quit, and you are meant to remain? The problem isn't that effort is uncomfortable. The problem is that you believe that discomfort means something is wrong, when in reality, it often means you're finally doing something right. Don't feel like training? Perfect. That's the muscle you need to use. Don't want to stick to your routine? That's exactly why you must. Don't want to say no to that instant pleasure? That's your entry point to self-control. Because if you only act when it's comfortable, you're not acting from willpower. You're acting from indulgence. And indulgence doesn't build excellence. It buries it. There is no real discipline without discomfort. And if you're not uncomfortable in at least one area of your life each day, you're probably not growing. You're likely just maintaining, stuck in a life that feels fine, but isn't transforming you. The Stoics knew this. That's why they trained their minds with negative visualization. They imagined losing everything, living with little, facing death, enduring humiliation, and still holding their ground with dignity. Why? To break their dependency on comfort, to stop needing it, so that when life eventually threw them into chaos, they had already been there. Mentally, emotionally, philosophically, you can do the same. Expose your mind to discomfort on purpose. Wake up earlier than you want. Take cold showers. Train when you don't feel like it. Say no to pleasures you don't need. Do what you said you'd do, even if today you don't feel like it, because that discomfort isn't punishment. It's proof that you're choosing what's right over what's easy. It's the friction that polishes your character. It's the tension that reveals whether you're truly ready to hold what you say you want. Comfort gives you pleasure, yes, but it doesn't give you pride. And without pride, there is no self-respect. And without self-respect, self-control is impossible. Don't confuse comfort with well-being. True well-being is built when you accept that discomfort is the price you pay to become someone you respect, someone who stands firm, someone who, even when everything inside them wants to give up, chooses to move forward. True power isn't avoiding the hard things. It's acting with resolve, even when the hard things hit you. And that doesn't come from avoiding pain. It comes from confronting it. Now that you understand discomfort isn't your enemy, but your most powerful ally, you're ready for one of the most underrated Stoic practices, daily self-evaluation, done with complete honesty. If this message is resonating with you, subscribe and become part of this space, where we train willpower, forge character, and learn to master ourselves. Before the world does it for us, we don't seek perfection here, we seek real strength. Your discipline begins today with us. Lesson 9. Evaluate your progress every day with brutal honesty. There is no discipline without self-evaluation. Each day ask yourself, did I move closer to who I want to be? Or did I give in to my impulses? You can train, follow routines, make strong decisions. But if you don't evaluate your steps, sooner or later you'll walk in circles. What's the point of massive effort if you don't even know whether it's bringing you closer or further from who you want to become? What's the point of feeling good today if you don't know what you failed at yesterday? Discipline isn't just execution, it's awareness. And awareness is trained through a powerful practice the Stoics use daily, nightly self-evaluation. Epictetus taught it as an internal discipline. Before going to sleep, review your day. Look at it without ego, without sugarcoating, without excuses, as if you were both judge and witness of your own life. Marcus Aurelius did the same. He wrote in his journal with brutal honesty, not to punish himself, but to realign, to avoid getting lost in the illusion of progress without direction. Today you have access to endless tools for growth, videos, books, quotes, routines. But if you don't pause each day to ask yourself with sincerity, did I act like the person I want to be? Did I defeat my laziness, or did it defeat me? Was I loyal to my principles, or did I invent new excuses? Then you're not moving forward. You're just repeating. And if you repeat without awareness, you also repeat your same mistakes, your delays, your weakness. And that's not progress. That's masking stagnation with activity. True self-control demands constant review, because the mind has a powerful ability to deceive itself, to paint avoidance as discipline, to dress up comfort as self-care, to call surrender flexibility. The only way to break this pattern is to evaluate yourself each day, as if your life depended on it, because it does. Your future life, your self-respect, your strength, your clarity, they all weaken. If every night you go to sleep without asking a single hard question, without facing your failures, without acknowledging your small wins, without recalibrating your compass, make it a Stoic ritual. Before you sleep, shut off the noise. Take a few minutes and ask yourself 3 sacred questions. 1. Where did I fail myself today? Not to punish, but to correct. You can't improve what you won't admit is broken. 2. What did I do today that deserves respect? Acknowledge it. It's not all failure. If you held the line, chose well, resisted, it matters. It strengthens you. 3. What will I adjust tomorrow to be more loyal to myself? There is no progress without adjustment, and no adjustment without reflection. This habit, repeated nightly, becomes a sword. It cuts through self-deception, it silences complaint, it anchors you in truth, and after just a week of doing this, you won't be able to act the same. because you'll know that at the end of the day, you'll have to face yourself. You'll have to speak the truth. And that, more than any motivational quote, is what forges real self-control. Because self-control isn't just strength in the moment. It's direction over time, and direction is kept through reflection. Don't settle for saying you're changing. Prove you're tracking that change, that you're guiding it, that you're not letting momentum or habit decide for you. A person who doesn't self-evaluate is exposed to self-deception, and self-deception is the silent killer of all progress. But a person who evaluates honestly, even if they fail, even if they slip, is alive on the inside. They're awake. They're building character. Make this a habit. Don't go to sleep like a slave to impulse. Sleep like a commander reviewing strategy, like a philosopher refining their path, like someone who takes themselves seriously. Because if you don't evaluate, you won't improve. And if you don't improve, you'll be trapped in repeating the same cycle, while convincing yourself you're trying. Now that you've developed the courage to face each day with honesty, you're ready to understand the final Stoic truth, the one that crowns this entire path of self-discipline. The world will not arrange itself for you, but if you learn to govern yourself, you won't need it to. Lesson 10. Don't control the world. Control yourself. The world won't always be on your side, but if you master your reactions and emotions, you will always be in command of yourself. Perhaps the biggest mistake we make when trying to change our lives is believing that we first need to change the world around us, waiting for the perfect conditions, for people to behave the way we want, for the environment to align so we can finally move forward. But that day never comes. And while you wait, life passes you by. Days stack up, your goals fade, and your character weakens. Because when you place your power in the external, you are forever at the mercy of what you cannot control. And for the Stoics, that was the very definition of slavery. Marcus Aurelius wrote it clearly. Very little is needed to live a happy life. It is all within you, in your way of thinking. And that's where true self-control begins and ends. Not in getting the world to obey you, but in learning to govern yourself even when the world ignores you. The world will not change to make you more disciplined. Temptations will remain, injustices, obstacles, distractions. What must change is how you respond. The weak mind says, "I can't move forward because everything is against me." The Stoic mind says, "Nothing can stop me if I own myself." There's a deep freedom that arises when you accept. You don't need to control the outside world. You only need to stop reacting like a slave. Think about it. You can't control others' opinions, but you can control how much they affect you. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. You can't avoid the world's chaos, but you can create order within yourself. And once you truly understand that, it's pure liberation. Because you stop fighting the inevitable and begin mastering what's possible. Your character, your focus, your reaction, your commitment. Many people fail at discipline because they waste emotional energy trying to change things they never had power over. The weather, other people, the past, random circumstances. And while they obsess over those things, they neglect the only battlefield that matters: their mindset, their effort, their consistency, their word. True self-control isn't managing your schedule. It's managing your thoughts when your schedule falls apart. It's not holding strong when everything supports you. It's holding strong when everything collapses. And that isn't trained in peace. It's trained in chaos, in the days where nothing goes right, in the moments no one is watching, in the nights when your mind begs to give up, and you choose not to. That's the Stoic power. It doesn't shine, it doesn't shout, it doesn't impress, but inside of you it makes you unbreakable. A will that doesn't rely on external order to stand tall. Think back to the moments you lost control. Was it because the world attacked you? Or because you weren't prepared internally to stand firm? Most of the time, it's not the problem. It's your response. your interpretation, your impulse. And once you realize that, you become responsible. And that responsibility, it doesn't crush you, it frees you, because now you no longer depend on anything else, just on you. And if you choose to grow stronger, every day without waiting for the perfect time, you become someone who no longer asks the world to change, because they have changed first. That is the goal. Not a life without obstacles, but a life where every obstacle finds you stronger, more grounded, more resilient, because you've stopped reacting and started ruling yourself. Today you complete this journey of 10 lessons with a final, powerful truth. Self-control isn't about controlling everything. It's about refusing to let anything external decide for you. And when you master that, when you stand tall even while everything else shakes, there is nothing that can ever take your power from you. Now, you're ready for the final step, a conclusion that will leave you questioning, perhaps everything about how you've been living until now. What remains when the noise fades, when no one is watching, when the door is closed, when the phone is off and the world goes silent? Who are you? Are you the person you claim to be out loud, or the one who, deep down, keeps betraying themselves? Are you the one who inspires others by example, or the one who alone falls back into the same excuses? There's something you can't hide, not from yourself, not from your soul. Every day you postpone self-mastery, every time you give in just one more time, every time you repeat what you swore you wouldn't do, you drift further from your strongest, most honest, most awakened self. Most people run from themselves. They fill their lives with noise to avoid hearing the emptiness. They drown in stimuli to avoid confronting the inner chaos. And they think the problem is the world, when in truth, the world only amplifies what they're avoiding inside. But you're not here for that. You're here because you've realized that without self-control, there is no freedom. And without inner freedom, your life becomes nothing more than a chain of automatic reactions to your surroundings. You didn't come to this Stoic session just for motivation. You came to remember what you already knew, but may have stopped practicing. Discipline is not oppression, it's direction. And self-control is not punishment, it's the purest form of self-respect. Maybe right now you're at war with your own impulses. Maybe you're tired of failing yourself. Maybe you feel like you just can't hold it all together anymore. And that's partially true. You can't if you keep doing it alone. That's why this community exists. That's why every word you heard today was written for you, because no one builds strength in isolation. We build it here, reminding each other of what matters. Reminding each other that being strong isn't about being perfect. It's about being consistent. Maybe you'll fall again. Maybe tomorrow your mind will try to negotiate. Maybe you'll slip, but now you have an advantage. You can no longer pretend you don't know. You can't say, I don't understand what's happening to me. You know it's your undisciplined mind, your weak will, your lack of structure, and that, far from being a sentence, is a door, an opportunity to start today by choosing what aligns with who you want to be, not what you feel in the moment. Remember this, you don't need everything to be perfect. You don't need to eliminate your emotions. You only need to start acting with clarity, with firmness, with purpose, because every action you take from willpower is another brick in the foundation of your character. And if this Stoic session resonated with you, if something inside you stirred, if a part of your soul remembered what it had forgotten, don't leave it here. Subscribe, join this space, make this community your place of return whenever the world throws you off balance. We don't sell formulas, we train the soul. We don't speak to you as a spectator. We speak to you as a warrior trying to stand tall again. Today you finished a session, but the real work begins now. Close your eyes. Ask yourself honestly, how different would your life be if you stopped betraying yourself and started obeying yourself? That answer will change everything. I can't wait to hear your stories of growth on this journey. Share your wins, your struggles, and your insights in the comments. If you're not sure what to write, start with, I am not a slave to what I desire, I am master of what I choose. It'll show you've completed this session and are ready to keep walking with us. Don't forget to subscribe if this message reflects your values and your desire to live with Stoic wisdom. Your voice is essential here. Every reflection strengthens and elevates this community, reminding us of the true value of each individual and our shared Stoic identity. The top comment will be pinned, our banner, raised by one of our own. We are a community that doesn't run from pain. We face it with courage, wisdom, and honor. To enter this Stoic brotherhood is to break the chains that hold you back and build an inner fortress no one can take down. Follow us if you never want to miss a Stoic reflection again. And remember, every decision shapes your character. In the pinned comment, you'll find 3 paths. Each one exists for a reason. 1. If this content brought clarity to your mind, subscribe to receive weekly insights that will strengthen your willpower. The first step toward self-mastery is choosing to stay on this path. 2. If you want to actively support this community and keep the Stoic flame alive, become a member. Your support doesn't just sustain this space, it expands it. 3. If you're ready to go even deeper, you'll find resources crafted to help you strengthen your mind, body, and character through Stoic practice in everyday life. Choose with intention. Everything you need is here. Because your growth can't be postponed, it must be trained. Today, I'll see you in our next session at Stoicism for Winners, where we'll keep exploring the richness of Stoic wisdom applied to the modern world. Until then, take this opportunity to expand your understanding of Stoicism through the recommended sessions. And above all, never forget, you are the sole master of your perception, the creator of your peace, and the warrior in your own battle. This is the Stoic legacy, the art of being unbreakable.